Money. It's a word that sparks all kinds of feelings. Some swear it's a dirty game, that only the ruthless, the cold-hearted, or the greedy come out on top. But Florence Scovel Shinn flips that script. It's all an illusion. True wealth starts deep within. When you walk in faith, money doesn't own you, it serves you. In this video, you'll uncover why believing only the bad guys get rich is one of the biggest spiritual traps out there, and how to break free from it right now. Keep watching and see for yourself. Chapter 1. The Oldest Lie. Wealth is synonymous with evil. Since the dawn of time, money's been slapped with a bad rap. How many times have you heard lines like, "Money is the root of all evil," or "Only the crooked get rich"? Those words sink into our minds like they're carved in stone. But are they true? Is wealth really just a prize for the corrupt? Or is this belief a carefully crafted distortion, designed to keep good people from prosperity? Florence Scovel Shinn reminds us that we often swallow collective lies without a second thought. One of those lies: that money only comes at the cost of kindness. But if you look at the Bible with clear eyes, a different truth shines through. Proverbs 10 verse 22 says it plain. The blessing of the Lord brings wealth, without painful toil for it. That single verse dismantles the idea that the righteous have to be poor to stay pure. The problem isn't money, it's the heart of the one holding it. This negative belief keeps millions of faithful people from embracing abundance. They convince themselves that scraping by is a badge of spirituality, when really, it's just a trapped mindset. Think about it, the more you have, the more you can give. Those with resources can fund causes, feed families, and bless others. Why would God want the good to lack the means to do good? Florence teaches us that words shape our destiny. When we repeat that money is a curse, we're putting a lock on our own potential. The real root of evil isn't money, it's the obsession with it. Paul nails it in 1 Timothy 6 verse 10. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. It's not the cash itself, but the attachment, the idolatry, the blindness that turns wealth into a false god. Let's get real. How many opportunities have you let slip because you thought getting ahead would make you less spiritual? How many dreams have you shelved, scared of what others might think? This old lie paralyzes, traps, and impoverishes. But here's the good news. Every lie can be replaced with truth. The truth? Wealth is a natural extension of life. Nature's overflowing with abundance. Trees churn out thousands of fruits, rivers never stop flowing, the sun rises every day without sending a bill. Why would you believe the Creator, the source of all this plenty, would destine you for lack? Florence offers a simple practice. Start declaring every day that divine wealth flows to you justly, perfectly, and without struggle. Use words that set you free, not ones that chain you down. Swap the lie for the truth. Just like a new seed transforms the harvest, new declarations reshape your destiny. If you're ready to shake off the weight of this lie and step into freedom, drop this in the comments. I choose the truth of divine prosperity. It's a way to seal that commitment in your mind and your life, aligning yourself with abundance. Chapter 2. The Forgotten Psalm. When the righteous prosper without guilt. There's a psalm that many recite but few truly grasp in its depth. Psalm 112 paints a picture of the righteous, not just as those who fear the Lord, but as people thriving in prosperity. Verse 3 says it clearly. Wealth and riches are in their house, and their righteousness endures forever. Do you see the contrast? The Bible shows that wealth and righteousness can coexist in the same home. Yet, this verse is rarely preached or remembered. Why has this psalm been forgotten? Maybe because it challenges one of our deepest-rooted beliefs, that prosperity equals corruption. But the Bible tells a different story. Prosperity is a natural outcome of a life aligned with divine principles. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the universe responds to what's inside us. When we nurture faith, speak life-giving words, and act with integrity, abundance follows. Think about Abraham. He was called a friend of God and was loaded with cattle, silver, and gold. Job, after proving his faith, got back double what he lost. These men weren't villains, they were righteous. Their wealth wasn't a stain on their spirituality. It was a testament to God's faithfulness. Here's the catch. Many of us were taught to ask for crumbs, as if God's got a budget. But scripture and spiritual teachings point to guilt-free abundance. The righteous don't need to feel ashamed for growing. They don't need to hide when they thrive. They don't need to justify their blessings. Florence warns that guilt is one of the biggest barriers to prosperity. When someone receives more than they think they deserve, they start sabotaging themselves. They miss opportunities, squander resources, or even push away blessings with chaos, all because they can't reconcile wealth with spirituality. But Psalm 112 shatters that divide. Now, picture this. If every good-hearted man and woman prospered without guilt, what kind of change would we see? Hospitals funded, families lifted up, social projects sustained, kids getting top-notch education. Evil often thrives because good people hold themselves back. And good people hold back because they've bought the lie that prospering is a sin. It's time to reclaim this forgotten psalm. Read it out loud, claim it over your life, and let it anchor your spirit. Trade guilt for gratitude. When the righteous prosper, it's not just their life that changes. It's the world around them. Are you ready to embrace this forgotten promise? If so, drop this in the comments. I accept prosperity without guilt. That simple declaration starts shifting your energy, aligning your mind with biblical and spiritual truth. Chapter 3. Joseph in Egypt, the man who proved that God enriches the faithful. Joseph's story is one of the Bible's most powerful testaments to prosperity born from faithfulness. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, humiliated and forgotten in a dungeon, Joseph seemed doomed to obscurity. To human eyes, failure was written all over his life. But something unseen was at work. God's hand, moving in sync with Joseph's unwavering faith and fidelity. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "The walls of the prison dissolve when the mind stays free in God." Even in chains, Joseph was never a slave in spirit. He held fast to trust, interpreted dreams, served with excellence, and saw beyond his circumstances. That's what set him apart. He refused to be caged by bitterness, choosing instead to be a conduit of blessing, no matter where he was. And what happened next? That young foreigner, with nothing to his name, became governor of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh. From a slave to the steward of an entire nation's wealth. From forgotten to the linchpin saving whole peoples from famine. Joseph's life is living proof that God enriches the faithful, not with scraps, but with abundance and honor. Now let's think about this. If Joseph had given in to self-pity, cursing his brothers or grumbling against God, would he have made it to the palace? Doubtful. God's kind of prosperity demands an inner stance of trust. As Florence always stressed, what you expect in faith, you attract. Joseph expected redemption, something greater, and that's exactly what he drew into his life. Here's the key. Joseph didn't amass wealth just for himself. He was placed in power to save lives, including his own family's. That's the true purpose of spiritual prosperity. It's not about showing off, it's about service. Not about vanity. It's about mission. Many buy into the lie that only the wicked get rich because they see the corrupt stacking up fortunes. But they overlook Joseph's story. He wasn't crooked, exploitative, or selfishly ambitious. He was simply faithful. And that faithfulness flung open the doors to the greatest wealth of his time. This is exactly what Florence Scovel Shinn championed. When you align your words, your mind, and your faith with divine purpose, locked doors swing wide open. It's not about forcing fate but trusting that God has a table prepared for you, even in foreign lands like Egypt was for Joseph. I want you to reflect. Are you stuck in a kind of spiritual dungeon right now, believing your past, your mistakes, or the injustices you face define your future? Joseph's story proves no wrong can block God's blessing when you stay faithful. If this message hits home, drop this in the comments. I am faithful, and God will prosper me. That's your declaration of faith, your decree. A seed, as Florence would say, planted in the invisible soil of your future. Chapter 4. Greed versus abundance. Two paths, two destinations. When we talk about wealth, there's a fine line separating two worlds: greed and abundance. At first glance, they might look similar. Both chase prosperity. But dig deeper, and they're opposites, leading to entirely different destinations. Greed is fueled by fear. The fear of losing out, the urge to hoard without purpose. It's that inner voice whispering, "Grab it all before it's gone." It's competitive, insecure, suspicious. It turns money into a god and people into disposable tools to get what you want. Those who chase this path soon find an emptiness that lingers. No matter how much they stack up, it's never enough. Abundance. That's a whole different vibe. It springs from trust in God, from the certainty that there's enough for everyone. Abundance doesn't scramble after opportunities. It attracts them because it's a state of mind. Florence Scovel Shinn put it perfectly. "Nothing that is mine by divine right can be taken from me. Nothing that isn't mine can be given to me." That's the heart of abundance. Rest, trust, and purpose. Look at the Bible's characters. The rich young man, gripped by greed, couldn't let go of his possessions to follow Jesus. Abraham, on the other hand, got the abundance mindset. He gave, shared, trusted, and received promises that echoed across generations. Two paths, two destinies. Oh, how do you know if you're acting from greed or abundance? Simple, check your heart. Greed is always in a rush, demanding instant results, comparing itself to others, and getting mad when it can't control everything. Abundance. It's patient, grateful, generous. While greed says, "I've got to take," abundance says, "I can wait because I know it's coming." Maybe you're wrestling with this right now. You want to prosper, but there's a heaviness in your heart. Fear, envy, competition. The good news: you can shift that. Every day you can choose the abundance mindset. And when you do, life gets lighter, doors open naturally, and the wealth that comes doesn't chain you down. It sets you free. Florence said it best. You don't need to chase what's yours, you just need to be ready to receive it. That's the game changer. Greed forces, abundance attracts. Let me ask you, which path is guiding your life today? Greed or abundance? Drop your answer in the comments. This reflection could be the first step toward a brand new destiny. And if you're seeing that choosing abundance is an act of faith, give this video a like and share it. That's how more people break free from the scarcity mindset. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more messages that strengthen your mind and spirit. Point: two paths, two destinies. The choice is yours. Chapter 5. The word that creates fortune. Decrees of justice and prosperity. From the very first chapters of the Bible, we learn that the world was shaped by the power of words. Let there be light, and there was light. That principle hasn't changed. Even today, everything that shows up in our lives starts with a word, whether spoken out loud or repeated quietly in our minds. Florence Scovel Shinn called this the power of the decree, the ability to align our thoughts and words with spiritual truth. But here's the controversial part. If words can create wealth, they can also create ruin. How many people have you heard saying things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Life is tough," or "Only cheaters get rich"? Those decrees become personal laws, shaping the reality of the person who speaks them. That's why so many honest, hard-working people stay stuck in scarcity. It's not a lack of effort. It's an overload of cursed words acting like invisible chains. On the flip side, those who get this secret start decreeing differently. It's not magic. It's alignment. When you declare, "The money that's mine by divine right flows to me now, in right and perfect ways," you're not just talking pretty. You're issuing a command to your mind, your heart, and even the circumstances around you. It's like planting invisible seeds that, in time, sprout into real opportunities. And the Bible Job says, "You will decree a thing, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways." Job 22 verse 28. This verse is often overlooked, but it reveals the principle Florence brought to life in her teachings. Words are spiritual orders that the universe, in a sense, has no choice but to obey. So let me ask you, what decrees are you using in your life? Words of abundance or words of lack? Maybe it's time to take stock of your daily language. Try this for 15 days. Swap out negative phrases for decrees of prosperity. Watch how it shifts not just your mood but the situations that start showing up around you. It's no coincidence that many millionaires, even those unfamiliar with Florence or the Bible, use daily affirmations. Some call them mantras, others positive declarations. But at its core, it's the same spiritual principle. What you affirm with conviction will, sooner or later, take shape. Florence said it best. Words are powerful instruments. Use them wisely, and you'll see miracles unfold. It's a simple but life-changing recipe. While greed tries to manipulate, a righteous decree attracts by divine law. Now I want to hear from you. What prosperity decree are you ready to start using today? Drop it in the comments. This small act could be the first step toward a whole new cycle in your life. If this message hit home, don't forget to leave a like. Helps us spread more teachings like this. And subscribe to the channel to keep following this journey with Florence Scovel Shinn. Remember, wealth doesn't start in your wallet, it starts with your words. Chapter 6. When the heart is pure, gold does not corrupt. One of the greatest fears passed down through the ages is that money corrupts. How often have you heard things like, "So-and-so changed after getting rich," or "People with big money forget about God"? This idea, echoed across generations, has convinced many that spiritual growth and material wealth are at odds. But are they really? Florence Scovel Shinn pointed out a crucial detail. It's not the gold that corrupts, it's the impure heart that receives it. Money itself is neutral. It just amplifies what's already inside a person. If there's greed, it flourishes. If there's generosity, it multiplies. So, the real secret isn't to reject money but to purify the heart. The Bible backs this up in 1 Timothy 6 verse 10, where Paul writes, "The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil." Notice the distinction. It's not money itself, but the disordered love for it. It's idolatry that turns gold into poison. On the other hand, Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, asked God for wisdom before wealth. The result? He got both. His wisdom kept his heart steady, and the wealth was just a byproduct. Think of money like a magnifying glass. Put a gemstone under it, and it sparkles brighter. Put dirt under it, and the filth stands out. Gold doesn't shape anyone's character, it reveals it. Florence taught that a clean mind, guided by decrees of faith, turns wealth into a tool for blessing. We shouldn't fear money but its misuse. With a heart anchored in God, all wealth becomes a channel of light. This perspective obliterates the myth that prospering means losing your spirituality. On the contrary, as Jesus taught, those who are faithful with little will be entrusted with much. Here's the provocative part. If you're scared that money will corrupt you, maybe you don't fully trust your own faith yet. Because someone with a purified heart knows they'll stay true to God, with or without gold. Oh, let's reflect. Could this fear of money be what's keeping so many people stuck in poverty? Is it this deep-rooted belief that's blocking opportunities? Florence would say yes. When you tie wealth to wickedness, you unknowingly build an invisible wall against your own prosperity. The challenge is to align your heart with generosity, faith, and spiritual obedience. Gold that comes to a pure soul doesn't become a cage. It becomes a key. A key to bless families, fund dreams, and transform realities. I want to hear from you. Have you seen people around you get rich and still stay humble and generous? Share your story in the comments. It could inspire others to break the myth that money is a corrupting force. If this message resonates, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll keep getting teachings that blend spirituality and prosperity, without fear, guilt, or prejudice. Gold doesn't corrupt, an impure heart does. But when the heart is clean, gold only amplifies the light. Chapter 7, Solomon's Secret. Wisdom before wealth. Among all the characters in the Bible, few are as tied to prosperity as King Solomon. His story is captivating because it defies conventional thinking. Instead of asking for riches, military victories, or fame, Solomon asked for wisdom. And that choice made him one of the wealthiest and most respected men in history. And 1 Kings 3 verse 9 he pleads, "Give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people." He didn't chase gold, he chased understanding. The gold followed. Here's the key Florence Scovel Shinn would help us see. True prosperity doesn't start in your pockets but in your mind and spirit. Wisdom opens secure, lasting doors to wealth. How many people crave fortune without first building the maturity to handle it? It's like handing a child a torch. Destruction is inevitable. That's why so many lottery winners lose it all in a few years. They lacked the wisdom to sustain the blessing. Florence said, "The right word at the right time is like gold multiplied." She knew wisdom and wealth go hand in hand, but in order. First an enlightened mind, then a full wallet. That's the secret that separates greed from abundance. Imagine this. If you could choose between getting $1 million today or the ability to make wise decisions for life, which would you pick? Most would grab the million. But the truth is, without wisdom, that money would vanish fast. With wisdom, it's only a matter of time before millions flow in. Solomon's secret isn't outdated. It's more relevant than ever. We live in an age drowning in information but starving for wisdom. Everyone's talking about shortcuts to wealth, but few mention character, discipline, or spiritual discernment. Florence stressed that wealth without light is just a burden. But when light comes first, gold becomes a tool for service. Solomon didn't just amass treasures. He built temples, strengthened his people, and left an eternal legacy. Here's the challenge I want to throw at you. Are we getting the order wrong? Are we chasing gold before preparing our hearts to receive it? Think about it. Maybe your prayer shouldn't be, "God, give me money," but, "God, give me wisdom to steward all the blessings already on their way." I want to hear from you. If you could ask for just one thing today, would you follow Solomon's lead and choose wisdom, or would you go for instant riches? Drop your answer in the comments. It might spark a powerful reflection for someone reading. And don't forget, if this video is bringing clarity and inspiration to your life, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll keep uncovering the secrets that weave together faith, wisdom, and prosperity. Gold can be lost. Wisdom can't. And in the end, it's wisdom that ensures every treasure lasts. Chapter 8. Trials of the Righteous. Why the good sometimes take time to prosper. One of the biggest questions people wrestle with is, if God is just, why do good people seem to suffer more and prosper less than those who act with malice? This isn't a new struggle. The psalmist Asaph in Psalm 73 admits he envied the wicked when he saw their wealth and apparent ease. He nearly stumbled in his faith until he realized their prosperity was only temporary. The heart of the matter lies in understanding the purpose of trials. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Every apparent delay is just the time needed to prepare the ground for the harvest." The righteous don't prosper instantly because their wealth needs to come with inner strength, faith, character, and unshakable trust. Think of Joseph, sold as a slave and unjustly imprisoned. To human eyes, his life looked like a failure. Yet every painful step was shaping the maturity he needed to govern Egypt and save an entire nation. If he'd prospered too soon, he might not have had the wisdom to handle such responsibility. Here's the truth many don't want to hear. Delay isn't punishment, it's training. When wealth arrives too early, without preparation, it turns to ruin. But when it comes at the right time, the righteous not only enjoy it but multiply it and bless others. Florence declared, "No closed door can stop what's yours by divine right." So if your prosperity hasn't shown up yet, don't lose heart. The gold already exists in the spiritual realm, but you need to be ready to receive it without losing yourself in it. Here's a practical reflection. What are you doing while you wait? Are you grumbling or sowing? Are you comparing your life to the wicked or trusting that God's timing is perfect? Maybe your real test isn't a lack of money but a lack of patience. Maybe what you're missing isn't the harvest but the confidence that it's coming. If you've made it this far, I've got a challenge for you. Drop one word in the comments that sums up your faith right now. Maybe it's trust, waiting, or victory. It'll strengthen you and inspire others who see it. And if this video has spoken to your heart, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Together we'll keep learning that prosperity isn't just about receiving, it's about being ready to sustain the blessing. Trials aren't signs of abandonment. They're proof that the righteous are being prepared to carry a greater weight, the weight of abundance that doesn't corrupt. Chapter 9: Faith and Obedience. The secret pact between God and wealth. Many people believe prosperity hinges on hard work or luck, but Florence Scovel Shinn reminds us of a silent covenant between faith, obedience, and the wealth God longs to bestow. "Faith without works is dead," wrote the Apostle James, and here lies the key. Active faith sparks action aligned with divine will, paving the road to true abundance. Picture your financial life as fertile soil. Without faith, it's just barren dirt. Without obedience, seeds might fall but never fully grow. When you believe and act on spiritual principles, you create a harmony that lets the invisible manifest in the visible. Florence said, "The person who thinks in abundance attracts it. The one who grumbles, complains, or doubts repels it." Notice that wealth isn't just the fruit of hard work. It's the natural outcome of aligning with spiritual laws. Obedience is the bridge between wanting and receiving, and the Bible. Abraham is the classic example of this covenant. He trusted God's promises, even without immediate results, and his obedience became the foundation of a prosperous legacy. Like Abraham, you need to sow with faith today, even if the harvest isn't yet in sight. Every act of integrity, every choice to be generous, every positive word you speak is a signature on this secret pact with God. What does this look like day to day? It means speaking words of affirmation and prosperity while acting with ethics, discipline, and gratitude. Money isn't just numbers, it's energy that responds to your thoughts, words, and actions. A single act of honesty or the decision to pay off a debt right away can unlock financial flows you never imagined. Keep your faith active, especially in moments of doubt. When it feels like nothing's moving, think of Daniel in the lion's den. His safety didn't come from the absence of danger but from unwavering trust in divine power. In the same way, you can persevere, knowing that spiritual and material prosperity walk hand in hand with those who honor the covenant of faith and obedience. If this chapter resonated with you, drop a like and subscribe to the channel to keep receiving teachings that transform how you think about wealth. Comment "faith and obedience" below to reinforce these daily practices in yourself and inspire others. Understand this: wealth that comes through faith and obedience isn't fleeting. It endures, multiplies, and transforms lives around you, making you not just prosperous but a channel of blessings. Chapter 10: Painless Wealth. The final revelation of Florence Scovel Shinn. Many believe wealth always demands struggle, sacrifice, or suffering, but Florence Scovel Shinn unveils a truth often overlooked. True prosperity flows without pain when you align with spiritual laws, obey divine principles, and trust fully in God. Painless wealth isn't luck. It's the natural result of a mind and heart tuned to the abundance God offers. Think about it. Money is just the visible expression of an invisible flow. If you fight against it, complain, or despair, you create resistance. The Bible spells it out in Proverbs 13 verse 11. "Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase." Pain comes from haste and distrust, not from wealth itself. Florence teaches that words, thoughts, and conscious actions form a triad that unlocks this flow. Daily affirmations, acts of generosity, and steadfast faith make the path to wealth light and natural. Picture every action as a key. Each moment of integrity, honesty, and gratitude unlocks doors that once seemed out of reach. Another biblical example is Job. Despite his trials, he held fast to faith and integrity. In the end, his wealth and prosperity didn't come from wrestling with hardship, but from obedience, patience, and trust in the divine flow. Like Job, you too can experience prosperity without pain when you realize wealth isn't just money. It's peace, balance, and harmony with God, Florence emphasized. The person who knows the secret of faith doesn't suffer with wealth, they attract it with joy and gratitude. Every thought of scarcity or fear breeds pain. Every thought of trust and gratitude breeds ease. Prosperity becomes a natural state of being, not a distant goal to be chased with force. Practice this daily. Speak with faith, act with integrity, and give thanks in advance for blessings received. Watch how opportunities arise, doors swing open, and solutions appear in unexpected ways. Painless wealth isn't an impossible dream, It's the outcome of aligning with eternal spiritual laws. If this chapter spoke to you, drop a like, share your prosperity experiences in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more teachings that transform your relationship with wealth, money, and abundance. Remember, wealth without pain is possible. It's the fruit of faith, obedience, and divine wisdom. Florence Scovel Shinn shows us that when you grasp this, abundance becomes not just a goal but a way of life that flows naturally, multiplying blessings for you and everyone around you. True wealth is not measured solely by accumulated money, but by the faith, obedience, and integrity you maintain on the path to prosperity. Florence Scovel Shinn reminds us that painless wealth is possible, but it requires aligning your mind, words, and actions with God's spiritual laws. When you understand that the flow of abundance responds to your trust and gratitude, every challenge becomes an opportunity, and every coin becomes a symbol of a pact between you and the divine. Apply these principles, and watch your life transform into a reflection of painless prosperity. See you in the next video.